Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about water filtration. We'd like to thank Debbie Brown for liking and sharing the podcast. We'd also like to thank everybody who downloaded our book, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 2 on Amazon. We actually hit number 1 in the Kindle books for home repair.
So we're best-selling authors still.
So it's exciting. We appreciate the downloads. And if you haven't downloaded it, check it out on Amazon. It's a really nice reference for your home improvement projects.
Well, at least we think so. And 2 people that gave us a review.
Yes. If you like the book, please give us a review on Amazon. Historians have found records that date to around 2000 BC for methods to purify water.
Where, in ancient Egypt?
Well, in fact, in about 1500 BC, Egyptian tombs show filters made out of charcoal for purifying water. And so there's a bunch of evidence that they were boiling water, running it through sand, ancient man, to purify water. Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine in Greece around 400 BC, was experimenting with water purification. So he would boil water and then run it through a cloth bag. And he found that made the water taste better, and it pulled out all the sediment and things they had, and I'm sure they were just getting pond water.
Ugh.
And it wasn't until the microscope...
It's amazing that humans have survived this long, isn't it?
Yeah, really. At least it must have been everybody around a nice and natural source of water. But it wasn't until the microscope was invented that we got to see all the pathogens in water, and that was in the 1600s. It wasn't until 1829 where the first public water supply had filtered water in London.
Wow.
In the late 1800s, people started to embrace the germ theory of disease.
See the connection?
Right. In the U.S., there's still about 15 million people that have their own private well, and 86% of U.S. homes have treated public water, so they have filtered water. And what's interesting is in Maine and New Hampshire, only 55 to 60% of the homeowners use public water in those 2 states.
Wow.
The public water in the U.S. is among the safest in the world, but it's not in the top 10.
Wow.
Interesting. I would have thought it would have been in the top 10. Number 1 is Switzerland.
Well, of course.
Number 4 is France. Number 6 is Italy. And number 7 is the U.K.
Well, what's number 2 and 3?
I don't know. So the Mayo Clinic recommends that you should get at least 8 glasses of fluid a day, and getting as much of that from clean water. They say a 5% drop in your body fluids can cause 20 to 30% decrease in energy.
I remember on the Oprah show, she had some doctor on, and he said that a lot of times people are so dehydrated that they end up getting headaches, and when they go to take aspirin, and with a glass of water, it's actually the water that makes them feel better.
Interesting, huh?
Or quicker than the aspirin does.
Right. A National Geographic report found lead and other toxic chemicals in school drinking water in 27 states.
Yikes.
And most of this was from pre-1985 pipes. So one thing you need to be conscious of if you're buying an older home is, what type of pipes do you have? There's still a lot of the old lead pipes. An investigation by the Associated Press found a wide assortment of pharmaceuticals in the water supply in 24 metro areas.
Wow.
And there's thousands of violations to the Safe Drinking Water Act every year. 20% of them are from treatment facilities.
Right.
So in large metro areas. According to the Environmental Working Group, they found over 300 chemicals and pollutants in drinking water around the country. So pathogens, pesticides, herbicides, lead, mercury, all in our drinking water.
Well, just look at what happened in Flint, Michigan. I mean, how scary is that?
Well, they thought they were going to save money by switching from Lake Huron water because they were paying fees to Detroit, and then just take the water straight from the Flint River. But a lot of the experts were saying that it's notorious for being polluted.
Right.
And the water is so corrosive that it's damaging, or it has damaged the pipes going into their homes now. So they've switched back.
Right.
And they're saying that, the damage has been done, and now, there's still a lot of contamination in these pipes. So the state is passing out water filters and bottled water. And part of the Medicare program, so Medicare tests toddlers, and they found that lead levels have doubled or tripled in some cases during that period.
Wow, so scary.
Yeah, sad.
The lesson here is even if you get your water straight from the city or if you have your own well, you should be testing your water.
It's probably smart, especially you just move into a community and you don't know the area. A couple of the top-rated water test kits. One is if you have your own well water, is Water Safe, and their model WS425W was rated one of the best. And this is a well water test kit. It tests 10 different contaminants, bacteria, toxins, chlorine, and hardness also. HM Digital was rated very high for their test kits. And First Alert has a kit. The top-rated one for them is the WT1, so it's WT and then the number 1, drinking water test. And this meets all the EPA standards for a water test kit.
Some people think that just switching to bottled water is safer.
Yeah, and it's weird. Bottled water is actually less regulated than tap water. And about 40% of bottled water is just regular tap water right out of the public system. And most of them don't use any additional filtering. So
That's
they're
scary.
just filling bottles. The EPA standards and tests for public water don't apply to bottled water yet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. According to the Container Recycling Institute, over 67 million plastic water bottles are thrown out every day.
Wow.
The U.S. spends about $6 billion on bottled water, and the process of making bottled water, actually making the bottles themselves, they take millions of barrels of oil, and then during the manufacturing, there's a lot of toxic chemicals that are released into the environment. So bottled water is maybe not the best way to get fresh water.
Who knew? Now that we've scared everybody, why don't we talk about ways that we can filter our own water?
So the most common types of filters for the house are a whole house filter, under sink, and there's a couple styles. You have faucet filters and then just pitchers where you can just pour water in, it filters for you. The whole house filters are usually connected just after the main shutoff coming into the house. And then you can connect this with either couplings on both sides, so you're going to cut out the pipe. You can add one shutoff before the filter, or some people actually put 2 shutoff valves, so one before the filter and one after. If you're using galvanized or copper pipe and the pipes are grounded to your service panel, you're going to have to connect a jumper cable around the filter, and a lot of homeowners forget that. One of the safeties to protect you against electrical shocks, if you have, metal pipe, whether it's galvanized or copper.
Yeah, because metal, water, bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Electricity.
So when you put something like this filter and you cut into that, you're stopping that. It's not grounded all the way back to your service panel.
Whoops.
So you need to take a clamp and take a wire and another clamp, and then you're jumping over that filter. And so it's one continuous path back to the service panel and then to your main grounding wire.
Yeah, so that would be very important.
Yes. You can get under sink filters, and these are usually multi-stage filters, so they're going to have multiple cartridges. They're going to remove more and smaller particles. These are rated among the best types. They're mounted inside the cabinet, so they're connected to the water supply on the cold side, so for drinking water and making food. Some styles are going to have a separate spout or faucet that's going to go in the spray hole in your sink.
Which I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it makes it convenient to get the water. If you don't have a separate hole or a hole available on your sink, you can also just drill a hole, especially if you have a stainless steel sink. It's easy to drill a hole and put this faucet there. And then if you don't want to change the shutoff valve on the cold side, you can just add an adapter. So you can put on a 3/8 by 1/4 inch compression adapter on the end of that, and then you'll be able to connect the supply line going to the cold side of your faucet, and then this 1/4 inch tubing going to the water filter. You can get a faucet mount filter, so this connects to the thread on the end of the spout where the aerator goes.
Right.
And most of these can be turned on and off when it's needed. These filters usually have to be changed more often because they're smaller, but it's a very easy way to get cleaner water.
So like if you're washing dishes, you could turn it off.
Exactly, yeah. You can get pitchers to purify your water, and this is great for drinking water because it can be stored in the fridge. These filters have to be changed more frequently than the under sink or whole house, and then you have to keep filling them up. One other way you can filter your water is just using the refrigerator water filters.
I was thinking about that when we did our refrigerator episode. Is that water filtered?
Yeah, well, what's funny is refrigerators with a filter are rated actually very high. So I was doing a little bit of research on this, and they're saying that like Samsung and Frigidaire, both of their filters were rated to remove 99% of particulates and cysts in water.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild. So Whirlpool, Maytag, GE, and LG were also rated very high for their refrigerator filters.
What are the different types of filters?
So you can get carbon black, and this is pulverized activated carbon, and it's shaped under high pressure to form porous block of carbon.
That sounds very impressive. What is activated carbon?
So this is charcoal that's heated to increase its ability to absorb. So it's tremendously porous, so it can really grab small particles. And the EPA says that this is the best option for removing herbicides, pesticides, and volatile organic compounds.
VOCs.
And it's also going to remove a wide range of chemicals, pesticides, chlorine, bacteria, heavy metals, nitrates, and parasites from your water. And many people say it improves the taste of your water because it leaves in the minerals. There's granulated carbon, and this is finely ground activated carbon. You know they have tablets of activated carbon?
No.
That you can swallow, and it's used to treat flatulence.
Oh, nice.
So granulated carbon, the filters need to be changed over time as it traps these contaminants, and then leaving them in too long can actually slow down the flow of water, and bacteria can start to accumulate. So in some of these cartridges, they actually add a little silver to this, and it's a little more expensive, but it discourages the bacteria growth.
Okay.
You can get ceramic filters that have small pores to block particles, but they don't remove chemical contaminants. And then there's mechanical filters, so they're either called microporous filtration, and this is just a filter medium with small holes, and it's going to block small particles, but again, this type doesn't remove chemical contaminants either. You can get reverse osmosis filters, and this uses the household water pressure to force water through a membrane, and these are usually paired with activated carbon black and granulated carbon filters. Some of these reverse osmosis filters will have 5 different filtering areas.
So is this something like underneath your sink?
Yeah, underneath your sink. Pretty amazing.
So there's no room for anything else.
No, and it also has this bladder, that holds water and stores water, so it's a pressurized tank to hold the water.
Seriously, if you had like a garbage disposal and then like this thing.
And a garbage can underneath there.
No, you couldn't fit the garbage can.
But what's nicer about the reverse osmosis is it is going to remove 90 to 99% of contaminants. And most are classified as a true purifier rather than just a water filter. This is going to be one of the only things that removes arsenic from water,
well, thank goodness.
Fluoride, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals. This is what the U.S. military uses to purify their drinking water. One thing you need to be aware of, you have to have adequate water pressure for it to be pushing through that membrane. So check the label, see what you need, check your household pressure. And this also creates wastewater that has to go down a drain. So for every gallon of filtered drinking water that this produces, it creates about 3 gallons of waste. Isn't that wild? That actually just goes, it's connected to your drain under the sink.
Wow.
Reverse osmosis also removes beneficial minerals, so like calcium, magnesium, and many people don't like the taste of water without minerals, and that special membrane has to be replaced about once every 2 to 3 years, and then the carbon filters need to be replaced about every 6 months, depending on your water use.
You need to be aware with the reverse osmosis that this is a process. It's not just you turn on the faucet and you have filtered water right away. Yeah, it's going to take, when you initially set this up, it's going to take 3 to 6 hours to fill that tank underneath the sink. And how much does that hold?
And that holds about 2.5 gallons worth of water. So there's an air bladder in this tank, and you're putting pressure on this. So once this fills, you've got nice pressure to that additional faucet that you have.
Right.
And like a lot of these, they're going through pre-filters and then filters after this. So you have very pure drinking water. But, it takes time to refill it. If you're, using this for cooking and you're using a lot of water, it does take time to go through the process. And then you have to be aware that for every gallon of pure water, you have 3 gallons that's going down the drain, and you need to connect a drain hose to either your garbage disposal, so you can get a little adapter to go right to the hose barb in your garbage disposal, or you have a drain line adapter, or you have a clamp-style drain adapter that you'll have to drill a hole into one of the pipes under the sink. So just be aware that there's a little bit of a process connecting this. And they're the most expensive. If you want under sink and a nice water filter system, you can also get just the carbon-activated filters. They usually come with 2 filters, sometimes 3 in a little group. and
right,
it's
so
much
it's
easier.
a lot less stuff underneath your cabinet.
Right. You're also looking for filters that are marked with NSF certified.
What does that mean?
And that's the National Sanitation Foundation. And this is an independent third-party organization that verifies the standard for these filters.
What are some top-rated water filters?
You have Aquasana, GE.
You're not going to spell Aquasana.
AQUASANA.
How do you decide which ones you're going to spell?
Ones that I feel like I can pronounce properly. Some things I struggle with. Kenmore, Pure, P-U-R, Whirlpool. One of the best rated pitchers was from Clear 2O, so it's CLEAR, the number 2O, and this is their filtration pitcher. Brita was also, B-R-I-T-A, was also rated very high in pitchers. Culligan was rated one of the best faucet filters. APEC, A-P-E-C, had one of the best reverse osmosis systems, and this has a 5-stage filtration, and it removes over 1,000 different contaminants.
Holy Toledo, Batman.
And their ROES-50 is built in the USA. Multi-Pure was rated very high for an under-sink water filter, and the Watts Whole House Water Filter, and that's W-A-T-T-S, was rated very high. And people really love the clear housing because you can see all the junk that builds up, everything that's been taken out of your water that you're not having to drink.
People like seeing that?
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's cool, man. I didn't drink any of that.
Yeah.
None of that's in me now.
Do you have anything else to add?
The most effective water filters are going to be your under sink, whether it's a combination of carbon filters or reverse osmosis with carbon. For convenience, a pitcher or a faucet mount will do a nice job. And then, if you're thinking about purchasing a refrigerator, you can get one with a really highly rated water filter. And so now you have your drinking water, or, if you want to fill a pitcher with water for your cooking, you can do it right out of the fridge. So that's kind of easy.
Do you have to change those filters?
Yes, and those are going to be skinnier than a filter like you would get under sink. So where under sink's about once every 6 months, the refrigerator, depending on the use, probably every few months. And make sure you change them because you don't want bacteria to build up, and then you don't want real good water flow.
Well, especially you're spending the money to filter your water.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't do any good if it's a dirty filter.
Right. I would also look for the NSF certification on the filters.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. Soon, Google Play and Spotify.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our book, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 2, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.
Jeff